Okay, everybody. I'm very excited. Sitting in Yerushalayim, the holiest city, the holiest place in the world. In Yerushalayim, right near the Koisel HaMaruvi, in the holiest building, in the holiest room of the holiest building, in Ashpiza. Ashpiza.com. Let me spell it for you. It's oshpiza.com. It's an unbelievable organization. A lot of interviews and talks and stuff. If you go to the website, it's all about Kiruv, bringing back our brothers and sisters to our beautiful, beautiful Yiddishkeit. And also I'd like to thank, before I begin Torah Anytime, and Chazaq. And we're going to start our lecture today. Today we're going to be talking about, I have a few people over here in the room, we will be talking about New Age parenting. New Age parenting. Wow. Okay, what does that mean? We have a mitzvah in the Torah. The mitzvah in the Torah is that we have to teach our children to bring them to be successful beings, to be healthy, physically, emotionally, and very, very connected with the Torah. They should know and they should grow up capable of being people on this world, l'sheva sitzura, as it says in Parashat Bereshis. So what do we say? V'ahavtas Hashem Elokecha. We say it 3 times a day. We say, V'shinantam levanecha v'dibartu bam. We need to teach Torah to our children. All of us, the greatest pleasure, the greatest thing a person could ever do in their life is bringing our children close to Hashem. Why? Because first of all, it's a mitzvah. And second, because if this is something that we admire so much, this is our whole lifestyle, our afterlife style. It's everything, it's our whole essence, and we love it. We want to make sure, we want to share it with our children, that they too should have a successful, beautiful life. To be able to fulfill this mitzvah of raising our children happy, healthy, and from, ultimately, we need to constantly revamp and rechange and redo the system, the way we do chinuch. Of course, it has to be based on the way we got it over from generation to generation. But the Yetzer Hara, the way the world is going on, it's very, very different now than it ever was. So we constantly have to think and replan and try to see how we can get our children to be interested in our lifestyle rather than in the lifestyle which is seemingly so much more exciting, the Goyish world, the Western cultures. Our children are seeing a black and white Gemara. Everything seems like repetition. Every Shabbos comes again. You go to shul 3 times a day. If they don't know what it is all about, it seems it's repetitive. It becomes boring. And the world out there is very seemingly very exciting, keeps on changing, different colors, new styles, and there's so much going on. There's so much noise, let's call it, in the world. So much distraction. And we are trying to bring our children to be connected to the Rabbi Shloime and to Torah. So how do we do it now, in 2024, 2025? I think that we need to go back a tiny bit of history, what happened in the last 20 or 30 years, where the world became very, very attuned to therapy. Everybody became psychologically driven. A lot of speeches are given around the world. People are going to therapy. People are healing, which is a great thing. It's an awesome thing. People are more aware of their feelings. Our children are born already into this world, and they feel they're very sensitive and they're very in tune in all their feelings, which is a great thing. We also learned in the last 20, 30 years that we need to be extra loving and caring to our children. It can't be anymore the old way, the way it used to be in certain eras and certain periods throughout history, where people felt that the only way to connect to children is to be strict and to set boundaries and to be like a helicopter parent, the way we call it, like to be on top of them the whole time, making sure that they don't get exposed or they don't get distracted. So we had rules in the house. So what's now? What's happening now? Where we're up to now? The world is changing back and forth. I want to start by first saying that we need to bring back the parents into the house. Let me explain. A lot of people became very confused because we were young and we were raised a certain way. We were told, we even got a patch sometimes, a smack if we didn't behave, or certain things, or we got punished for certain things. And suddenly we're listening to so many lectures all around the world. No, the kids today are more sensitive, they're more attuned to their feelings, and people are more sensitive, so you have to be extra careful, extra nice. But what's happening is So many books came out in the last few years describing how the children are becoming narcissistic. They become entitled. So what's the balance? What's the balance of giving endless love to your children, giving boundaries in an endless loving way without being strict and turning them away from Yiddishkeit, away from our lifestyle? What's the balance? And I think that the first thing is we need to claim back of being parents. That we are the ones that are given the mitzvah of taking care of our children. So let me present in this way. So let's say I come home. I see my child doing something. He's hitting his younger brother, I don't know, pulling his face, he's doing something. And so I have two options. Go natural into my the way I was raised. I'll start screaming, "What are you doing?" Or I'll say, just don't, and the kid will continue. And then they try to push boundaries. You tell them to get dressed, they don't want to get dressed. There's constantly coming up different things. They're not listening because they know they're not going to get punished. So what could we do? If we understand that we are the boss at home, we are the boss. I'm the boss in my house. My wife is the boss in our house. We are the boss in our house. The children know that my parents are the ones that are given the mitzvah. Okay, they don't need to know that way, but I'm just saying it to us. Given the mitzvah of being mechanech the children, of raising our children, we need to know that I am the boss in this house, and I am the one that's deciding when my 5-year-old kid should go to bed. Now, I'm a good boss. I'm not going to be like the olden days, the old boss that screams and yells, and I don't have to say that I'm the boss. Never tell your children, I'm the boss in this house, and I'm telling you what to do. No. You have to think it and really know it. I'm giving you back ownership. Dear parents, I'm giving you back ownership. You are the owners of your kids until they get older, until they move on in life, until they have their own bechira to make. Until then, you have the obligation to run your house. Your children are not running your house. I see people in the streets talking to the little kids. I see they're saying, "Do you want to go into the carriage? Do you want to go to sleep?" Since when does a parent ask a child, "Do you want to go to sleep?" So in the old days, you would say, "Go to bed right now." Okay, that's not good. So what's the good way? The good way is to say, "I want you to go to bed. I'll give you have 10 minutes to go. You see the clock? When the number is going to be straight, 10 o'clock, you have to be, not 10 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever time the kids have to be to bed, you have to be in your bed. Do you want to have this blanket with you? You want to put on this pajamas or that pajamas?" But that's it. You're not giving them an option if they should go to bed. You're not giving a child an option for things that it's not according to their age. Because then they don't feel comfortable. They don't feel stable anyway. They start misbehaving even more. So we are the parents. We are great parents. We are awesome people. We are the most loving parents in the world. We think our kids and we listen to them and listen more than any time before. Obviously, I think we need to talk about it later a little more about listening. That's a great part of parenting. But I first want to talk about authority. Remember that you have authority over your kids. Obviously, until they turn teenagers, until they turn a certain age. I hear people saying, "Can you please, I think that it's a good time. No, mommy, I want to." No, you come out and you give them what you feel is the right thing for them. And then you just do it in a very nice way. But it's without a doubt. So automatically, if you know that you are the boss, you are given the authority. You're the one that Hashem gave the obligation to take care of these kids, of their emotional, physical needs and spiritual needs. You are the one that's telling them. You don't ask your little kid, "Do you want to go to school today?" Of course, they say no. You have to bribe them now, and now you have to start. It's deafening. It's like, it's hurting my ears sometimes when I go into the stores and I listen to mothers talking to their kids or parents. They're so scared of the kids. It's not their fault, because what's happening the last few years in therapy, we're starting to pull back to the other extreme, and that's creating very unhealthy children. So we need to know that we are the ones that are in charge of the future of our kids, and we are in charge in our house. This is my house. I decide what to do. Once you have a teenager, totally different conversation. Maybe we'll bring up that conversation soon. But the second thing is, I believe that one of the things that we need to start doing much more nowadays is called giving smart choices chinuch for the children. We teach them how to make choices. Let's look at it, us adults. We have more choices now in the world when we go shopping than we ever had. You go into a grocery, you want to buy ketchup, you have to make a decision between 25 companies and sizes and different prices and different labels. like even minute small things like that. We constantly are making choices, decisions. We're so there's so many options in the world, so many options of candies in the world. Every type of cereal. When I was a kid, it was like there was you remember, it was Rice Krispies and I don't know, and honeycomb and Cheerios. Like maybe 2 more. That's it. Now you have like 30 types. We're constantly making choices, millions of choices every single day. How can we train our children to make smart choices if we incorporate it together into chinuch? So let's say if my wife puts to sleep my 8-year-old son, and she tells him, listen, hey Tzaddik, in 20 minutes, whatever, this time you have to be in bed. She doesn't say, please, are you ready to go to bed? No. 20 minutes you have to go to bed. But you don't say it like in a strict way. Your mannerism, your feelings, the softness has to be the most soft and yummy and loving way. It's our children. Who do you think it is? But it shouldn't be with a doubt. Your children shouldn't feel, even the vibes should feel that my parent is telling me that I need to go to bed now, with all the love in the world. And then they wake up in the morning and they want to get dressed. So you come to your child, and when they're 7 years old, 8 years old, you give them an option. You say, Shefala, my dear Tzaddik, you could put on one of these 3 shirts today. Which one do you want to put on? That's okay. You don't have to do like the olden days of being an extreme, like everybody puts on this color today. I remember we were 5 brothers in a row, and we all had to match. Actually, I loved it. It was cute. But it's like, and one child, there's always that one kid that says, no, I want to get green corduroy pants today. I don't want to have the blue one. So, so a parent tells a child, I'm giving you options. You can wear this one, you can wear that one, you can do the other one. But he says, no, but I want that in the closet. No, I didn't give you that as an option. I gave you A, B, or C. So as they get older, you give them more choices and more options to make. I'll give you another example. Let's say it comes to Afikomen, Pesach. So, why do you give Afikomen? I usually give money for my kids. I make up for Yom Tov. We sit with my wife. We make a decision how much money we're giving per child for Afikomen this year to go shopping. Okay, let's say we make up $35. We go Chalamoy to a toy store, and we tell my kids, you can choose whatever you want. Whatever fits into your $35, you could buy. So what am I going to do? So one son, they're going to run around the whole, every child their own nature. One kid is going to look for a piano, and the other, I need to add $5, take off $3. One kid buys a lot of small things that fits into $35. So what I'll do is, I'll tell my kids, you can buy whatever you want. But this choice that you're making, it's not going to last too long. It's very exciting. But if you want, you can buy it. And another kid, I'll help them. I'll give them advice, and then back off and let them buy something. I'm not going to force them to say, you're buying something, you're going to regret it, and then so you can't buy it. You have to buy something. I let them. What happens is, a week later, the toy breaks. Then they learned that on their own choice, their body, their system is learning, their subconscious is getting attuned to make it to living the consequence of their own choice. So then he still sees his other brother still running around with his toy, with his remote car, for a few weeks later, and his toy is already broken. I think that's a very good lesson for a child. A child is learning on their own skin, on their own choices that they make. As they get older, we give them more choices to make, more options, more, you can't control your kids forever. But what's happening is, when the child feels my parents are giving me choices, and the child feels the vibes that my parents are solid, they are the ones that are giving me the options. They are the ones that are telling me to go to bed. They're the ones that are telling me to go to school. The child feels safer. So when they get something, this big, strong, powerful parent that I have, mother or father or both, they are kind to me. If my parents are wimp and they're not sure, the kids ask, can we go tonight to the mall? And the father says, I'm not sure, let's see, I don't know, should we go, shouldn't go? You should always say, we're going to discuss it, or we're going to decide, and we're going to let you know if we could go tonight or not. You could say it in the most warm way ever. You don't have to say it in a cold, like strict manner. You're not, you have to say it very lovingly. But the actual authority that you have, because you are actually their owner, you're actually the one that's deciding what's good for them, that in itself is giving them the feeling that they need to listen. They need to listen. So let's go back to choices a little bit, other than just an example of day-to-day parenting. I think that I see teenagers and young adults that I work with a lot throughout my life. I realize they are so confused when it comes to decision making. Should I spend the money here? Should I not spend here? How am I? We need to. We're living in a way in the world. I think someone said, we're living in a world of such abundance, yet it feels like such a lack, like we're like always missing. But at the end of the day, we're living in a world of abundance. We have everything around us. The poorest person today walks into a grocery, which the richest person 1,000 years ago couldn't have in their wildest dreams. Every type of food and nash, whatever you could think of, or other than food, anything, suits, shirts, ties. There's 20,000 types, colors of ties you could buy. So we're living in a world that everything, there's options and choices. So we need to start teaching choices to our children. Now I want to bring it to a little deeper conversation about choices. Choices of how they want to live their life. I think that in the olden days, just a couple of years ago, before the New Age came along, children were not given an option. You grew up Hasidish, you grew up Litvish, you grew up Yeshivish, you grew up modern Orthodox, you grew up within Hasidus, there's so many types and all types. It was a very norm, it wasn't a given, that there's no option for my child to just see Yiddishkeit in a different way. It's just or even life, like the whole family is doctors, every child has to be a doctor. The father is a physician, and then the child has to be now. Where does that? It was like a certain thing, that it was a certain pride, or it was a belief that we all have the same genes and we're all the same type, and everybody has to look the same and everybody has to practice the same. And if you Zaidi wore this type of hat, you have to wear that type of hat. I think and I hope that in New Age parenting, we all realize that every child is born in different natures and different inklings, inclinations, different styles. They had different friends, different natures, different nurtures. I've seen, I don't know if the world changed, but the way I see the world, there's so many, I always say that I have my children are the Shiva Saminim. Every type of child. One child is a grape and the other child is a fig. Such different kids. Who decided that every child belongs in the same school? Every child and every family needs to go through the same elementary, the same high school, it doesn't work that way. We see it's not working. And the ones that are trying to make it work that way, if it happens, great, good for you. But if it doesn't, go along with it, understand what your child needs. If we are not going to be flexible and realize that each child is a different shevet. Look at our Yaakov Avini. Yaakov Avini, our patriarch, he's the one that had the 12 tribes in Pashas Vaychi, where he gave a mission statement before he passed away. He told Reuven what he needs to do, what he needs to improve, what his mission in this world is. Shimon, totally different. Levi, Yisachar, you got to work, you got to learn. All the Shvutim, he gave them their particular mission, whatever they need to accomplish in this world. You would think a regular person passes away from the world, the older man, and he has all his kids around him if he's lucky, and he passes away like a tzaddik, and he has time to say goodbye. What is every person going to say? Oh, my children, you should all be from and Ehrlich, you should always live in Shalom, you should always be together, and you should always, never fight. And okay, but that's not what Yaakov Avini did. He said, every child, you excel in whatever the max you could in this way and that way and the other way. I think that this is our role modeling, is Yaakov Avini. And you can even see how Avram and Yitzchak and Shmuel, how he dealt with them, and how Yitzchak dealt with Esav, and he told Esav, bring me, he was a hunter, so he was connecting to him through hunting, he was telling him, go, bring me food. And Rashi says, I was so immersed and indulged in different types of steaks, all just to connect to Esav, to be a Makarav, and to give him all the love in the world, and hopefully one day he'll make a smart choice of coming back, which eventually happened. That was the way Yitzchak was connecting to him, and then to Yaakov, he was totally different. He was learning with him, he took him to Besmed Hashem Ve'ever, a total different chinuch. We need to understand that if we want to continue the world, the Klal Yisrael to continue, and the world is changing rapidly, until Mashiach comes, we need to constantly be more flexible. And what flexibility comes in is more the understanding that every child is a different shevet. Every child is different, and whatever works for them, not what works for my family, for my ego, for my tradition, what I decided. It's one thing, we all want our children to be Ovdei Hashem, to be successful, and on the physical level, and then on the spiritual level. And the only way to do that is to understand one child needs to go to yeshiva, the other child needs to work, the other child, whatever works for them, that they should excel the maximum according to their nature and their nurture, what they want to do. This is something that we need to really, hopefully that most people are already doing that, and if not, try to really, really understand that. I want to share with you something that I once heard. It's partially from Reb Beryl Wein, should be gesund. the Rebbe of Klal Yisrael when it comes to Jewish history, and then a combination with a few other things. I just want to say a certain statement that I put together from a few. He said that in the times of the Churban Beis HaMikdash, don't quote me exactly the numbers because I hate to misquote, because the point that I want to bring out is more important than the actual numbers. So if he said different numbers, it's okay. He said in the times of the Churban Beis HaMikdash, there were about 11 million Jews around the world. According to the Chinese history, what they know, they're keeping track already 4,000 years. According to that, in the time of the Churban Beis HaMikdash, when we had the Churban Beis HaMikdash, they had about 24 million Jews. So we had 11 million Jews, and they had 24 million Jews. Now we have just about 11 million Jews, I think. And Chinese have 1.5 billion people. Chinese have much less babies than we do, that's for sure. We have a mitzvah to have children, we have a mitzvah to have large families. And we are still 11. We cannot think, what I'm thinking, we cannot say that we were all murdered and killed throughout Galus, 2,000 years being in exile, that we got, that 1 billion Jews were killed. 6 million Jews by the Holocaust, pogroms, a few places, Spanish Inquisition. We didn't have that many casualties. Where did most of the Yidden go? The sad news is that most of the Yidden went off. They went bye-bye. They left the fold. It started off right with the time of the Beis HaMikdash, right after that, and then you had the people that went with they became Christians eventually with him, and then you had the Tzedaikim and the Karum, and throughout the generations, and the most recent one was the Haskula, which is the Enlightenment movement. They took away millions of Yidden out of the fold, totally left Yiddishkeit throughout the generations. That's a very sad news. But the good news is that nowadays there's so much in this very building that we're in, the amount of knowledge we have and the information we have, that anybody that really wants to come and listen and figure out his Judaism, his Yiddishkeit, we have everything in front of him like a Shulchan Aruch. Everything is prepared for him. From the frum communities, the kids that are leaving, they're not really leaving, they're just in pain. And we know it's proven. We all know that the children that are leaving are the ones that are in pain. They're just not able to fit into the mold that we set up for them, because we decided that all the children need to be a certain type, a certain style, a certain hat, a certain school. And this is exactly what's pushing out so many of our kids. And this is something that cannot continue. This is something that we need to change. I'm very involved in a few organizations that are training parents how to keep these children that left the fold totally, at least seemingly from the outside, to keep them in the families, to be part of the mishpacha. Because one day they're going to be healed from their pain. They're going to come back to the most beautiful, awesome thing in the world, which is living like a Yid. So throughout these trainings that we're giving, I've been all around the world, Baruch Hashem, through Kesher Nafshi and different organizations, many different organizations that have, Baruch Hashem, more and more, because we're realizing that the kids today that are leaving the fold, that falling out of our system, is not because they're some kind of philosophical thing that's pushing them off, and they figured out that atheism is the right. That's not their issue. They're leaving because they were actually pushed out of our system. They were pushed out of because they couldn't handle the way we said it for them. You have to go to camp. You have to go to school. You have to go to yeshiva at this age. You have to sit from morning to night and learn. You have to, it works for a lot of kids, which is great. Our schools are awesome. But we parents, I'm here to empower you, us, the parents, to understand that if we want our children to be successful, we need to understand when they're young already. Try to chap which kid is made to go through the whole school. I've had so many people telling me, I work with teens all my life. They tell me, sitting in school morning to night was torture. I couldn't wait. I was looking at the clock. Every 5 minutes felt like a year. That kid has or learning disabilities or they're just not, whatever it is, the ADHD, or it doesn't even have to have ABC. They're just simply, it just doesn't fit for them. They're just not in the right place, or they're just having, the different anxieties or different things that are in their way, and that's keeping them from following along in school. But us parents, the moment we see that our child is not working along, we have to really figure out who said this school is for him. Maybe it's just for my older son. My next son, it doesn't work. Maybe it's not for my daughter. I would love to see a world where all of us, all of our families where I could ask someone, which school do you send your daughters? If He would say, oh, depends which one. This daughter I sent to this school, the other daughter here, this one is there, and that daughter is working. This boy, he's working half a day, he's learning half a day. My other son is steiging away. He's learning a whole day. He's in, and he's like, it has to start being that way. We institutionalize Yiddishkeit into a conveyor belt system where every cookie has to come out the same, like a cookie cutter. And what's happening is a lot of the cookies are falling off. They're just not making it. So I'm not here to change the cookie cutter systems. I'm here to tell you that there are many different cookie cutters, and make sure your child is going onto the conveyor belt where they could excel, where they could be matzliach in their life. It's something that's obvious, but we need to start actually implementing it and understanding that it's a given that all my children, if you have 5 kids are the same, 1 kid different, it's okay. You don't need to. It's okay. This kid needs a different school, and you can tell that child, nothing wrong with you, you're a healthy person, you're going to grow up to be I don't know who, but you need to know that I find that this school is going to be better for you. You'll excel more over here, and that's what you're here, not because you're worse or better. I think the next thing we need to do, we spoke about the last 20 years a lot about loving our kids. You need to give them love, and it's so true. There's nothing more important than giving love. I know my father, he just passed away a few weeks ago. My dear father, he loved me. He never said the word I love you. Never. And it never bothered me. I always knew he loved me. And then I have some siblings that were upset. He never said I love you. And then kids today, you need to tell them I love you. It's not enough that they feel it. They just don't. You need to say it. So it's true. So that's where the world came. We need to realize that we need to, touch our kids and say hi and give them a hug and tell them how much you love them. But I want to say new age is, you need to say something even more than loving your children, is believing in them. We need to believe in our children. We need to tell them, I believe in you. You have such koiches. I can't wait to see what you're going to be in the world. You have so much to offer. And the world needs every type of yid, every type of person in the world. So one kid, if he's excelling and learning, is able to learn by lunch and at night, you can tell him the world is waiting for you to be the next to the Moshe Feinstein. You're going to be the next Talmud Chacham. Great, if that's the kid, that's the type, no problem. The other kid, you can say, you are going to run organizations that are going to shake the world. You're such a good heart. You have management skills. You're able to run a program. You're gonna make so much money. I see you have, Be'ezus Hashem, you have the ability to tell your kids 1,000 times how much you believe in them, and they can't wait to see how they're going to grow up. It's even more important than how much you love them. Obviously, do both. We need to believe in our children, because all of our children came down to this world and they woke up every morning because Hashem believes in them. We always say every morning, we say, thank you, Hashem, for giving me back my neshama, my soul. With grace, how big is your minna? So the question is, why do you say Rabba Minusechu is your faith? We have to say Rabba Minusi. If you know Lashon Kodesh, you say Rabba Minusi, my faith in you. So the Sfarim say no. Rabba Minusechu, how big is your faith, Hashem, in me? You gave me back my neshama today. You believe in me. Even before I did anything today. You gave me back my soul. I am so important to you, Hashem. And that's the best self-confidence a person can have. You know I'm confident? That Hashem is confident in me. My biggest affirmation in the morning is Moida Ani. Every single day I try to think, I'm not saying every day, I try really to focus in on the words, on thanking Hashem, give me my neshama, and Rabba Menasech, that you believe in me. You cannot wait to see what I'm going to still do for the world one day. And every kid should feel that way from their parent. And eventually they'll feel that way from Rabbi Shloime also. Because our children, the way they see us believing in them, they're going to understand that there is such a thing. My authority, the biggest authority, which Rabbi Shloime also believes in me. Okay, I wasted a day, I wasted a half a day, I wasted a few years of my life. I went through a stage, I couldn't find myself, I came back. Now wherever I am, Hashem still believes in me because He still brought me back to the world every day. If the Yankees have one of their players that's not producing, he's out. It's a very important game. Everybody gets paid a lot of money over there because it's very important. If you're not productive, you're out. Am HaNivchar, the chosen nation, is a tiny, from nation. We are the light for all the nations around the world. Every player in Klal Yisrael is so important. So, so, so important. And if we're not, we wouldn't be here. Hashem just makes sure you're not waking up the next morning. Hashem brought us to this world because He believes in us. He gives us every day another day. He believes in us. And if I'm not able to be productive 5 years, in 10 years from now I'll be productive. But I know that Hashem believes in me for the very fact that I'm alive. And if a child feels that from their parent, that my parent really, really believes in me, my parent knows that I am part of the family, I have so much to offer, and this child is good at organizing the decorating the Shabbos table, you take that child, you're very good at it. You want to set up the napkins, the doilies, you want to make it nice. The other kid is very good at I don't know, taking care of other stuff in the house. You bring it in not as a chore, it's a chore also, but you bring it in more as a wow, you're so good at it. And compliment your kids, anything that's going to build them, that they should have a confidence that you are confident in them. The confidence of a kid is the confidence that the parent has confidence in me. And then ultimately, that's the only way we can connect to Hashem. Because when a child is born, a baby is born, who's their first God? Who's their first Hashem? Who's their first everything? They're Tati and their mommy. Their mother is holding the child, giving the child everything they need before they even ask. The mother knows the child is hungry. The mother changes their diaper. They don't even have to go to the bathroom. Their mother does everything. And as they grow older, they become more and more independent. They were very dependent, feel so secure and safe and soothed, and they feel amazing. Somewhere throughout elementary, throughout other kids and people telling them things and what's happening in the world, they start feeling that disconnect and they start being on their own. And if they are 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, and they can't come home and cry and complain to their parent and tell them how hard that day was or whatever they went through, and the parents are really listening because they care for them, and even when they did something wrong, they still feel that their parent loves them. So why should they feel when they, later on in life, when they feel that they did something wrong to Hashem, against Neged Hashem, Hashem doesn't love me now. I'm disconnected, I did something wrong. But if their parent always loved them, even when they did things wrong, you know, you could punish your child. So let's say my son hits his younger brother. So what do? The olden days, you scream at him, and 10, 15 years ago, you say, it's not nice to hit your brother. Okay, fine, I hear what you're saying. But today, I believe that you should give some consequence to your kid, if he's a healthy kid. Talk about healthy chinuch. I tell my son, you need to go into your room now for 10 minutes. I want you to think about what it means being hit. You just hit your younger brother, you're fighting with him, and you're going into your authority. I'm the boss. You're going into, I don't say I'm the boss, I'm just bringing back what I said before. I have to feel that I'm the boss when I'm saying it. You are going into your room now for 10 minutes and don't come out of your room until 10 minutes because you hit the younger brother. But I can't wait for you to come out. You have the cutest face. I love you so much. I can't wait to see you come out. But go into your room right now. That's New Age chinuch. The authority, the consequence, he should have time to reflect what he did, but he shouldn't feel for a second while he's being punished or whatever it is, he shouldn't feel for a second that I lost the love or connection to my parent. Then a kid grows up like this, they're very different in their life, in their marriage. I want to say in marriage, look at marriage. So I just had a couple that came to me. The wife says that they were eating Shabbos by her parents. Her husband said something in front of the whole family they shouldn't have said. He made a mistake. So she is turned off. She said, I'm turned off a few days already. He's telling me she's ignoring him. She's giving him silent treatment or halfway silent treatment. And he's devastated. He's like, whatever. So I asked her, so she told me the story. He embarrassed me in front of my family and he said something he shouldn't have said. There's a big problem here. What's the problem? The problem is like this. We could have dual feelings at the same time. I could be upset at my spouse for saying something and still love them. I can't hate them or love them, no. Not every feeling goes together. But certain feelings work hand in hand. So if I love my wife, and that's what I do, thank God, and let's say we're living together so many years, there's always going to be something that might, I tell myself, I still love her, but I'm upset. She shouldn't have said that, she shouldn't have done that, or she or me. A kid that's raised in a house where the parent, while they're upset at them, why did you hit your brother? Why did you break that vase? But it's with love. The child feels, yes, my parent is upset that I ruined something very expensive. But the child doesn't feel for a second that my father doesn't love me anymore. My father loves me the same. He's just upset that I broke something. This child is going to get married. They're not going to get turned off and their spouse is going to do something. They're right away their system is going to know. We're in love. We're great. We're a great couple. I'm just upset. it's, first of all, it heals so much quicker. You're able to overcome it so much quicker. And that's ultimately what we need to do when it comes to the Rabbi Shloime. The Hashem, the Melech Malchei HaMeluchim, never, ever, ever gave up on any one of us. Never. He believes in us. He believes in Klal Yisrael after the Egel, the golden calf. There's no giving up. Klal Yisrael is B'ni B'chayr Yisrael, Ahavti Eschem Amar Hashem. Klal Yisrael, you are my like a firstborn child. I love you. Hashem says, Uhavti Eschem Amar Hashem. Hashem expresses it. He doesn't think it. He says it. He loves Klal Yisrael. A person needs to feel. You feel that at home, you're going to eventually feel that with Hashem. Rabbi Shloime Russell, my Rabbi, one of my dear rabbis in psychology and Rebbe and Chinuch, he says a boydig word. We know, it says in Klal Yisrael left Egypt, left Mitzrayim, when there were Memtes Shari Tumah. That's what it says in Kabbalah Svarim, and Chaim Kudosh says it, that there's 50 levels of Kedusha, 50 levels of Tumah. I don't know exactly how to measure that, but Hashem for sure knows. The 50th he can't survive anymore. So Hashem took out Klal Yisrael. The last second, it was such a low area. Mitzrayim was Eretz Ha'aretz. It was a terrible, terrible place to live in. Every sin in the book was done in that place. And Hashem took us out by 49 level of Tumah. He took out Klal Yisrael. He caught us in the nick of time. So Rabbi Shimon asked the obvious question, why did Hashem wait to take us out, his loving Klal Yisrael, at the last moment? He could have taken us out by level 10. Shari Tumah. It's very bad enough. 49, the worst, almost the worst that could be. Why did Hashem wait till we're 49? He says a very beautiful thing. I'm not sure if it's his own, if he says it in the name of one of the tzaddikim, that Hashem wanted to show to Klal Yisrael that I am not taking you out because you deserve it and because of your performance and because you're good. That's not the reason why I'm taking you out of Mitzrayim. I'm taking you out of Mitzrayim because I believe in your future. I'm taking you out of Mitzrayim because you're Klal Yisrael, you're my child. Not to do. That's why he waited. We shouldn't say, he took us out because we excelled in this. No, we were in Mem Tes Shari Tumah, 49th level of Tumah. To show that is nothing to do. If my child ever feels that I love him or her a tiny bit less because of their performance, I failed. I hurt my child. Because we ultimately love our children. We do. We're just so covered we're busy and with stuff. But my child should never, ever, a child should never feel that they lost even a tiny bit of love of their parent, regardless of their performance, even if they do everything wrong. If a child feels that way, they had a healthy relationship with their God, their mother, their father, their protectors, their almighty parents, the way a child perceives their parents, eventually they'll have the same relationship with Hashem. And if they don't have that, they have a big struggle of connecting to Hashem later. Or because they always feel, I'm a failure, I said Lashon Hara here, I did this, I did that, Avera. I had so many times throughout life, people telling me, different clients and different teenagers that talk to me, even adults, they tell me, anyway not. I'm not gonna go. I'm not close to Hashem. Hashem doesn't love me. Who am I? I'm just silly. Hashem loves us. Endless love. Hashem writes in the Torah that Lo merivchem kol havam, not because He greater than other nations, and not because Hashem just loved Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and their children. That's it. No explanation. He didn't give us explanation. He just loves us just because we are Zera Yaakov. We are the children of Yaakov Avini, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Nothing to do with our performance. Of course, we need to try to do mitzvahs and masot and to connect ultimately to the Rabbi Shloime and have a real healthy relationship with Hashem also. But our love, if a person feels, even for one moment, that my parents don't love me as much just because I was expelled from yeshiva 6 times, the child's going to have a little bit of an issue with Hashem as well. Not consciously, subconsciously. Something's going to make him feel, Hashem. But if a child feels that my parents love me, even if I give them all the trouble in the world, they love me, they think about me, they believe in me, what they're going to grow up to be. There's so many stories of people telling us again and again, because of one parent believed in me, one parent, just my father, just my mother believed in me and always told me, it's okay, a lot of kids go through that stage, it's okay, you'll grow out of it, just let me help you go through, let's discuss it, go for help, talk to the therapist, get through it. But don't worry, I believe in you and I love you. You know, if a parent could tell a child, there's nothing in the world you could do that's going to take away my love from you. That is what the way every single child needs to be. And who's telling it to them? The parents. The parents that are their owners. My owner, my parent, my father, my mother, who raised me, who run this house, who own this house, who own the authority in this house. They are telling me that I am special. They are telling me that I am going to grow up and I'm going to perform. You don't have to lie to your kids. Don't take it the wrong way. Don't lie to your kids that they're going to grow up something that they're not. Every child is born for a different mission in this world. So whatever they do have, whatever you do see in them, elaborate it and magnify it. But don't add, don't lie to your kids. They're not stupid. They're not going to take it even. So honest parenting. But say it. Don't be stingy on words. It's free. And really believe in your kids and tell them you believe in them, you believe in their future. And Be'ez Hashem, this is going to create solid, resilient children through their life. There's two more names that are supposed to say that this shir is in the schus of two very highly Yidden, Nesanel Chaim ben Shloime and Arya ben Shloime. They should be zeiche to grow up to be tzaddikim emes. And there's chus, the shir was dedicated. I really hope that this was helpful. We could really go into so much more details, but I think that these few points that I brought out is something that we need to take in and really try to do our best and never beat yourself up for not doing the best. We all make mistakes. This is what we need to do. It's okay. This is when we go to shir and we'll read a book and we find a new method, something, and what happens is people beat themselves up afterwards. Oh, I didn't do it all the time. It's okay. You learned about it now. It was basher for you to learn now. You didn't know it till now. Your children didn't need to have a parent like that. Now that you heard it, now they need to get this. And try your best. And I should help in that. Hashem should tell us already. We should hear how much He believes in us. We know He believes in us through His Torah, through His Nevi'im, through the Tzaddikim, but we want to hear it from Him directly very soon, just a few 100 feet away from here. By the Koisla Maruvi Mitzvah. That way, the whole Beis Hamikdash is going to come, and all the Yidden from the whole world are going to come home. Everybody's going to come home. We can't wait to see Tati again in Yerushalayim. Chazaq event, Yidden.